Four in there.
To qualify.
Toss 8.
Ethan Man Sant.
Why not beat? All right. Also, it's worth mentioning that the Heart and Cross Strap cold foil that we're giving away is generously offered. Generously offered by Green Tree Sports Cards. So thank you to Green Tree Sports Cards. Said, hey, do you guys want a cold foil heart for the stream giveaway? We said, yeah. We said, well, hold on, addendum. It end cross strap. I said, okay, so it's heart and cross strap.
Yeah,
cold foil,
I don't know how much of that they heard because I know that there's the really cool promo videos.
Yeah,
that,
we don't see that, so we have no idea. Yeah, we're just kind of running in blind with our pants on fire, but it's all good.
As we get ready for the Ethan versus Brodie matchup, I'll just quickly repeat it. The Heart and Cross Strap that we're going to be giving away.
That's so good to see.
The brain is visible as well as the hat that has the spinner on it. But yes, the Heart and Cross Strap was generously donated by Green Tree Sports Cards. They were also a vendor here at the event as well. Wonderful people. They were one of the partners during the Brawl series this year. They were the partner for the Pittsburgh event. Just good people. And they said, hey, do you want to do a great giveaway for the stream? Have this cold foil alpha Heart and Cross Strap. And with that all out of the way, we are ready to see Ethan Man Sant with the brain hat on Levia, taking on Brodie Spurlock with Azalea, and the spinning hat of infamy at this point. There's been a lot of people wearing it all weekend long. If you've been walking around the event, you might have seen Tariq Patel, for example, was wearing it. And
yeah, I was just about to say, I was like, you roll up to a table super excited that you're like, man, I'm having a great tournament, and all of a sudden you sit across the table from Pee Wee Herman, and he's just twirling his hat around and just dummying you. No, yeah, Team Canada showed up in droves here, all of which have just kind of been passing the hat around. Everyone has had it for one game, and now Brodie Spurlock is taking up the propeller mantle.
All right, this, I believe, is a Wrecker Romp to kick us off, which, of course, is going to result in a random decision here. Brodie doing it by the book, using a die to pick randomly.
Oh man, yeah, it's been quite a weekend to say the least, and we're still catching our breath from all the previous matchups and everything. And it's good when the players across the table from each other are not just high-level competitors, but good friends as well. They're great ambassadors for the game. Brodie Spurlock, Ethan Man Sant, both of them are going to be at the celebration event in Auckland and Queenstown in New Zealand next month. That's going to be fun to see, as both have been such just champions in the community.
Yeah, Ethan, of course, not just a big Levia player, but also participating in the cosplay contest. Also helps out bringing coverage from several other events with the Savage Feats crew, just doing as much as he can for the Flesh and Blood community. Meanwhile, Brodie just feeding the community, because I did see he had given one of his coveted ham sandwiches to Michael Hamilton earlier.
Yeah, it was a consolation sandwich because Michael Hamilton unfortunately lost that match. But yes, there was no mustard, but there was plenty of tears involved in that sandwich. But it's all good. 2 Beast Withins, I believe, that are just hiding
Honestly,
there.
I think that it's great that Brodie doesn't put condiments on the sandwich, because the moment he discovers that you can put flavor on these things, he can't be stopped.
Oh, really? That's what's holding him back?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
If
yeah,
you
well,
put a little Dijon mustard on there, the guy will be cracked. It's like a performance-enhancing drug at that point.
Watch out, world. Brodie discovered mayonnaise. All right, well, we're ready to rock and roll, as the first turn was relatively inconsequential. It's just a setup round there for Ethan Man Sant. Put some cards into the graveyard, set yourself up with an arsenal. Now it's on to our good friend Brodie Spurlock.
Oh,
Twirl the
okay.
propeller, play some arrows. Let's take flight.
Looking at Ethan's hand there, I saw a couple of Beast Within. Can potentially be a great card for a Levia, or any Brute player for that matter, but we are waiting for Brodie to kick things off, studying his options.
Yeah, he's been taking his time. I mean, Brodie's not known to take his time.
No, not at all. He's normally a very fast player, very speedy. Definitely the opposite of methodical. Of course, we are jesting here. Brodie, one of the reasons he is such a prolific player is because he does try to consider everything. And when we hit these untimed rounds, a bit of an all-star when it comes to utilizing the time, we're going to activate the Death Dealer and I believe load up a wonderful arrow here. But will it stay? Will we potentially activate Azalea here? We're going to have to wait and see, but...
Well, that is a Bolton Shot. If you're able to put a non-attack action in front of it, that's probably what you want to send because it gives the go again effect as well. But how are you going to load up another arrow? That's the problematic aspect here. So we're going to see what he does here. It is, that one is...
it should be Scout the Periphery. So that buffs something coming from your arsenal. And technically that can buff any card coming from your arsenal. Earlier in the weekend, we saw Brodie play a Scout the Periphery along with a Premeditate. Both of those can buff any cards, not just arrows, and then played a Ravenous Rabble. He sent a Ravenous Rabble for 10, which was kind of iconic, really, because it turned that Rabble into a riot. Here, though, as you said, a great way to buff this Bolton Shot, but if the Bolton Shot does not hit, how do you load another arrow? You're going to be relying on the reload.
Onward and forward, that's the thing, is exactly the on-hit with the reload will get you that other arrow. So that is your sort of reprieve here in terms of not being able to reload. We're so used to, bows like Voltaire where you're like, yeah, fire it away, Bolton Shot, load up another arrow, let's go to town. It's not the case. That's not how this works. As the bow of choice is Death Dealer here, and we are going to go ahead and load up. Are we going to fire that Bolton Shot, or are we going to go ahead and roll the dice, as it were, with Azalea to find out what's on top?
So we are going to do the Azalea activation, and does find an infecting shot, I believe, but it looks like it's a blue, so it's going to be a bit smaller. I think Brodie had just kind of realized, hey, I'm only firing one shot this round, and if it's just the Bolton Shot, likely to be blocked out, won't get the reload, so I will instead dominate this and see if I can leak some damage. There is also a secondary benefit, and I'm curious to see how often Brodie dominates here. Historically, he's done it kind of sparingly, but in the Levia matchup, they want to get cards in their discard pile. One of the ways you can prevent that is by only allowing one block from hand. So we could actually see Brodie lean very heavily into the dominate, prioritizing it a bit more. Instead here, we activate the snaps, so going to have some sort of follow-up, but that is something to consider. How do you prevent the discard pile from growing here? And the reason the snaps went down was because we have a Codex. Now, this is also nice because you're not allowing Ethan to load up the discard pile with the discard. He already has a card in Arsenal, so this is just going to be allowing Brodie to fire another arrow, and then also he'll get the benefit of the Ponder.
It's a red infecting shot, too, so this is going to potentially pile up over here. But that was a very good point that you made, Charmer, of the fact that Dominate is not just going to push out damage through.
Yeah, he throws those two cards right away, right?
For sure. Well, you have to, again, because Dominate's going to limit the amount of cards that you can just go ahead and toss away to load up that discard pile. First opportunity that you can get here for Ethan is just load up sixes in the graveyard. Let's make it happen. He's probably going to get gooned here a little bit by that by the Blood Rot token, but that's a small price to pay to get a little bit of that investment play, build up the graveyard for those bigger explosive turns.
Yeah, he does just pitch the blue to pay for the Blood Rot and then draw back up. But again, you saw how quickly he snapped the double Beast Within into the discard pile because, one, you don't want to take the on-hit from the infecting shot, so that's a legitimate reason, but he is trying to load the discard pile. And I am, as I said, very curious to see how often Brodie activates the Dominate. In the past, he has only done it if he has had either perfect knowledge or if he's trying to close out a game. He is not somebody who will roll the dice blindly with Azalea, but we might see that as a strategy here, at least in the early parts of the game. There will come a point when the Levia player has kind of amassed enough that it's not really a concern, and then you could transition to your old game plan. But if you're trying to slow down the opener, this is a very valid way to do it.
Brodie Spurlock has a lot of reps on Azalea. Ever since Outsiders came out, that has been one of his pet projects, is to get better at that hero. And has won tournaments, won the very first Realm event, actually, with Azalea.
In Chicago. That was a partnership between the Realm and the Min-Max Games folks, another great community project that the Realm helped pioneer. And as I said, had events all across the country, partnered with some other iconic stores and tournament organizers across the U.S., all to culminate here in Columbus for this 20K Invitational.
Brodie had 40 health. Ethan at 36. Brodie has been able to cobble together a few turns, already expending the Snapdragon Scalers. First opportunity to do so with a double infecting shot. That's a lace with Frailty, I believe. We're not done yet.
We are not done yet. I believe that's a sleep dart that was just loaded.
Oh, that can be unreal strong against Levia. Massive, massive card to have hit, but there's no blood debt yet for Ethan Man Sant. But late game implications of a sleep dart charmer must be massive.
Absolutely. If you can turn off her ability to turn off blood debt, I know that's a double turn off, but that is ultimately what you're trying to do.
That's like us going to a singles place. Double turn off walking in.
Yeah, sure.
But you're married.
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't thought about going to a singles place. I don't even know what that looks like.
I don't even know what it looks like either, dude.
I'm not hip like you, and I'm the grinder.
If you think I'm hip, then you are so not hip.
And we're saying point.
Bingo. All right, well, Sleep Dart, you're right, is incredibly potent again. You can fire it off now. It's not necessarily going to get that much value, but I wouldn't be surprised to do exactly what we're seeing here. Let's get that later, because late game, being able to tack on a Sleep Dart with a tall dominated effect, when Ethan stacks on the Blood Debt, it's not just the damage that you're inflicting with the dominated Sleep Dart. It's all the luggage that comes in tow when when you cannot turn off Blood Debt because Levia's game text is completely iced out, and you just have this pile of blood depth that you are on the hook for.
Wow. Okay, there's a second Sleep Dart there that goes to the pitch. So if he does not play a Knock the Death Whistle, he might be setting up a second cycle turn where he's trying to really get some value there. Here we have the dominated aerial. It's going to connect, going to reduce the number of cards going to the discard pile, but also the Rain Razor is going over the top. Ethan taking a lot of damage, will get the Blood Rot Pox, but also perhaps more importantly, that inertia as well, because Ethan did have that card in the arsenal prior, right? He'd blocked out with his entire hand and then just kept that card. So it's been sitting around for a bit. He's going to have to make use of it or else send it on its way.
Stacking up the on-hit effects over here with a... sorry, is that inertia?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. This was a lace with inertia. That's my bad. Okay, so lace, you have the inertia token that's going to dumpster that the arsenal should it exist at the end. Plus the blood rot's going to suck as well. I mean, that's just going to be an extra 2 damage at the end of the day.
This has been one of the surprising cards of this tournament run. I believe this is the Tear Limb from Limb. Going to have a choice of 2 cards to choose from here. And so picking the first one, going to the discard pile, 1 resource floating. Again, that 1 card in the arsenal that they have to try to find a use for. If Ethan does not, inertia token will, again, send that on its way. One of the reasons that Brodie is also trying to pressure Ethan here is not just, obviously, because you want to close out the game and you want to do it before they have a chance to set up, but you also want to get to a point where you kind of force them to use the Carrion Husk so that they can't save it for later to cover up one of those Sleep Darts, for example. You want to get them to where that Husk is going to get utilized whether you like it or not. And after this exchange and after the Tear Limb from Limb here, we are instead just sending a Mandible Claw.
3 damage. I mean, it's not all that impressive, unfortunately, but it's still... You got to get some work done. You got to start chipping away here. It's been all Brodie all day long, but...
Well, I think what happened there is Ethan really wanted the Wrecker Romp to be the card that went, and instead the other choice slowed things down.
All right, first blood here on the ice is broken against Brodie. He's going down to 37 following that up.
All right, I take that back. It was just that the claw was the lead-in, and instead we are going to get the Tear from Limb effect that will give the +6 So this is going to come in for 12, and this is how Ethan is going to try to close the gap. Again, Terror Limb from Limb has been a bit of an all-star for Ethan this weekend, resulting in some big swingy turns. And I know that that's exactly what you want as a Brute player, but I've been impressed by how powerful this card is, especially for a blue pitch.
Thing is like Brute players like to have big fat turns, but the thing about Levia is that she is going to have big turns, but they're typically more sustained. It's more of a, I'm going to do, between 8 and 12 to you every turn. I'm going to really try to push the tempo every single turn. I'm going to try to make, to connect for damage over and over and over again. When Reinar swings for the fences, it's because he's intimidating half your hand or more away and then gets a free pass to just connect for a boatload of damage. But Levia with the go-agains, with the buffs, with the banishes, etc., it's a more sustained and spread out approach. And Ethan has not necessarily been capable of doing that just yet up until this turn. The 3 attack on the claw was just kind of the appetizer for that big dose of reality that Brodie just caught in the mouth. But in the quarterfinals match of Ethan versus Michael Hamilton, Ethan was kind of on the receiving end for the first 3 or 4 turns, didn't have much going, and then really turned it on. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the same situation here, where now we're in like the 3rd, 4th turn. Ethan is probably going to start ramping up the pressure.
All right, bit of housekeeping here just to talk about all the things that happened as they resolved that. 1, all of the damage connected with Brodie. He opted to not block, so he took that 12 damage. He's all the way down to 25. 2, Ethan could not pay for the Blood Rot Pox, went to 26. No card in Arsenal, obviously, because of the inertia token as well. Did have 3 cards banished, but none of them have Blood Debt, so the first banish has happened, but still nothing threatening Levia in that regard. Now we're back to Brodie's turn. He ticked up his tunic, so he has that coveted 3 counters, activated Skullbone Cross Wrap, and that is the 3rd Sleep Dart we've seen. The others have already been shifted to the bottom of the deck. Again, more powerful late in the game anyway, but if you're looking to drag this out all the way to 2nd cycle, I actually think that benefits Levia more. So if Brodie wants to get these Sleep Darts back, he might have to play something like a Knock the Death Whistle later so that he can shuffle his deck and increase the chances of finding them.
Read the Glide Path is your opener here, and you're right. I mean, Sleep Darts are just vanilla damage at this juncture of the game because it doesn't matter. There's no Blood Debt for you to turn off. A Sleep Dart late in the game can be game-changing, can be game-winning even. And here's the Read the Glide Path first order of business here. That Tunic's online. Bullseye Bracer's back into the fold. Great opportunity here. We've already expended the Snapdragon Scalers early in this game. Brodie was not shy to use those at first opportunity. And on Ethan's side, loading up that graveyard for those big banish plays. Always can lean on that Carrion Husk as well, Charmer. Those dominate effects are going to feel a little bit less potent when you can just shove a fat 6 block in front of it.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying I think Brodie wants to pressure early to force Ethan's hand on the Carrion Husk. And Azalea with the replacement effect, I think just wanting to get rid of the Sleep Dart.
Oh my
because
gosh.
It was vanilla anyway. But while it's not an arrow that can be dominated, so that part is gone, does kind of hit a beauty of a card here. The Codex of Frailty, of course, going off, going to donate that Frailty and get the Ponder token as well. Ethan, this time around, no card in Arsenal, so he will get something back and then discard a card. Kind of gives him a bit of an advantage as he wants to manipulate his discard pile for future banish effects, etc. That being said, doing some quick math here, he's going to have a 3-card hand to block with, and that is a lot of damage set up. I believe it's the Read the Glide Path. It should be a Lace with Blood Rot, and I think the other card is a Deadeye, if I'm not mistaken.
Looks like a Deadeye to me. Lots of sky-high abilities here, not to mention the fact that the red Infecting Shot already has a 5-spot right built into it. It is fat and sassy, my friend, and it's coming in with a lot of luggage. So you have to really respect this because even if a little tickles through, you're going to be on the hook for a lot more damage no matter what. Very, very dangerous gambit here. Looking at like I said, a skyscraper of an arrow. 14 damage with, like we said, it's coming in tow. It's got an entourage.
Brodie said, look, you attacked me for 12, and that looked fun. let's see if we can go bigger.
Yeah, it's not only that, but like, if this hits, it's like breaking open the piñata. There's going to be so much extra sauce coming out of this one.
So we're at 3, 6, 9, 11, I believe, here.
We're not done yet. Boom.
And then the sink. This is fully covered, does get the headpiece of the equipment as well as a counter that's going to be ending up on those scab skins, but is fully covered. Brodie will still be able to resolve this ponder, though, and end up with an arsenal.
That could have been so much more dangerous. If Ethan Man Sant was holding on to a pile of blood debt there, too, and had to donate the whole hand, he was going to be on the hook for the blood debt. But he has been very, very careful about putting anything in the graveyard with blood debt, or he's been lucky, or if not, because sure, he covered that whole arrow, but if there was like 6 or 7 blood debt to be on the hook for, he was going to have to pay that anyway. So Brodie's throwing sky-high arrows here, but Ethan's been blocking them out and never had to pay the tax at the end of the day because there was none of that was accumulating.
And Ethan opting to pass and draw up there, so the frailty token goes away, and we are back to Brodie. But you're absolutely right. That is something that is going in Ethan's favor. We mentioned the sleep dart's not good early, but they would have been completely ineffective because there's 0 blood debt there. Ethan also still holding on to the husk. I think that was ultimately what Brodie was kind of hoping for, to maybe get that husk, not only because then you don't have to worry about it later and it opens up your dominates, but that would be the first source of blood debt.
Laced with blood rot in Brodie's arsenal. Face up, no secrets there. Still has that carrion husk to lean on, should it become a problem.
Lean on me.
Well,
when you're dominated.
Yeah, well, I mean, none of these are.
I don't know. I can't follow that up.
Neither of these heroes are not quite not strong yet, as they're sort of right in. They still got a healthy life totals there. So leaning on me can only take you so far, because once you hit that 13 life total, it's basically I'm leaning on you with blood debt. So that carrion husk here is going to have to find a better, a nice target of opportunity, but. Ethan's been very careful to donate a card like that, but it's his last bastion of hope for a big dominated block. That plus the last block of Scabskin Leathers. Here's the lace with Blood Rot and an Endless.
Okay. We are lacing.
Whoa! Brodie, take your time, boy. What the heck? Did you just see him? He just laid them all out there all at once.
He said, okay, you covered 14. How about 16?
Yeah.
Does this get your husk? How high do I have to go to get that husk? So this is a 16 power endless arrow, and it's threatening the blood rot, but also ponder tokens as well because of
2 ponder tokens.
Yep, the premeditate, and I again think that was a Deadeye is the other one there, correct?
Yeah. If this hits, Brodie gets 3 cards in hand. He gets the endless arrow back. He gets the 2 ponder token draws, and then he can decide what the hell goes into his arsenal. So if this hits, which let's be real. Totally on the level, can possibly.
It's possible to block this out. You have to give up the husk, but I also see a sink below in hand. There's a chance that you could block this out and still have a card in hand and an arsenal.
That's the danger, because if you let some of this go and then you take damage and you fall below 13, you're losing your husk anyway. So basically, Brodie's saying, okay, it's a 16-point arrow. But you still have decisions to make. This is not just an easy peasy full block or not full block. You can't let it all go, and you could potentially block it all, but then you're losing the husk at an early juncture in the game, which can become dangerous. So Brodie creating one hell of that is a Mount Everest of an endless arrow, and there goes the husk.
The husk is going to go, and then I think we're going to get the sink on top of this. Yep, there we are. So this should actually end up fully covered here. That is 3, 6, then 6 more is 12, and then up to 16 with the sink below.
Hell yeah.
I know when you sign up for Brute, you sign up for big attacks, but Brodie has really taken on the challenge of being the big dog in this fight. First firing off a 14-point arrow, followed by a 16-point arrow.
Brodie needs a move where whenever he puts 3 non-attack actions in a big arrow, he's got to spin the propeller. He's got to let it fly.
Now, again, you had to give up the husk here, but Ethan kept a card in hand and still has the arsenal. So the fact that Brodie gave all of that up and then Ethan will potentially be able to mount some sort of offense, looks like it might still just be the claw, but very relevant. He's been holding on to this health lead for a long time, only has one blood debt to worry about at the moment. Honestly, I think Ethan is doing a fantastic job of navigating this. Brodie has thrown caution to the wind and thrown everything he can at Ethan, and Ethan is still sitting with very minimal blood debt, still at a similar health value, actually has the health lead, and is throwing offense back at Brodie.
3 attack on the claw. The mandible claw.
Yeah, this one is just the mandible claw, though. No Mr. Sacco.
No Mr. Sacco. Yeah, this one's coming in for all mankind, though.
It is coming in for all mankind, and it's also coming in for 3 damage. It's just vanilla damage. I think Brodie is trying to look at his hand and say, is this something I'm going to need all 4 cards for? Can I give something up here and then maybe take a setup turn? Right? He doesn't have an arsenal here, but he does have Tunic alive. Could maybe extend things. I think he wants to keep his foot on the gas pedal. I don't think he really wants to block this and have a low damage output turn as a setup turn, because then that would allow Ethan to get back in the game. And if you do that and then Ethan has even just like a medium blood rush turn, for example, and throws like 12 or 15 at him, then you're way behind at that point. So I think Brodie ultimately wants to keep his foot on the gas pedal here.
I love how the placement of the mandible claw there makes it look like his name is Ethan Man Sant.
It does kind of look like Ethan Man Sant. I love that he's also using, again, that very personalized playmat that was given out to all of the contestants in the Invitational. Well done by the Realm. It's just that little touch. And Brodie did take the 3 damage.
Yep, the mandible claw connects. Ethan says, "Have a nice day." So it's to Ethan. It's to Brodie now, opening with a knock the death whistle. Maybe so this is, but there's not enough. Like, is this where he goes and gets that sleep dart? Because there's not enough blood debt to really warrant it. No, I don't think you get the
sleep dart here, but I think that the side effect is you also shuffle your deck so that they're no longer on the bottom. You're not planning on this game going to second cycle. That will open them up for later. I think that finding something, even if you have like a low damage output turn, finding something like a Red in the Ledger, for example, might be enough to just slow down Ethan on the crackback. Because ultimately, that's what you want to do. You want to generate pressure, but you also want to put yourself in a position where the damage that is returned in any sort of follow-up is lower than what you're outputting. And then you can continue to pressure the health total and extend the health. Right now, they've been very even. Ethan's slightly ahead here, but for the most part, they've been close to each other all game long. And what Brodie really wants is to be ahead. He wants to put Ethan in a position where he can't make these good decisions. And thus far, it's been a struggle. So yes, Red in the Ledger is the grab here, and I like this call.
Red in the Ledger circumvents things like go-agains and such, and the action point generation of a potential scab skins roll, which is great. Great thing here. A powerful tool for Azalea. Going to find it again. So shuffling the deck, like you mentioned, this does sort of randomize. Again, all of those sleep darts were kind of at the bottom of the deck. Now they can be anywhere. They could be anywhere, Charmer.
They could be still back at the bottom.
They could be even further at the bottom of the deck. You're right.
You're right. They could be even further. But they could come up. Right now is not the time for him. Again, very often a powerful card in this matchup, but Ethan keeping his health total afloat and also keeping himself relatively blood debt free. I am enamored with the way that he has navigated this, because I think a lot of players would have fallen into a trap of just trying to make this a race, but he's been very patient, keeping things close and honest. And now we have the Lace with Frailty after the knock into this Red in the Ledger. So we are threatening the Frailty as well as the on-hit of Red in the Ledger, which, as you rightfully pointed out, limits to 1 action. So it stops cards like Scab Skins from extending your action points as well as any go-again effects.
And this is a turn where Ethan Man Sant has a Barraging Beatdown, has a Bloodrush Bellow, so there's a lot of chained actions that can be put together. So this is a good timing for this Red in the Ledger, as it's going to connect with, is that the Lace with Frailty?
That is a Lace with Frailty, yeah. So with the laces, the way that I remember it, red is Blood Rot, blue is Inertia, and then green is Frailty.
See, the way I remember it is Lace is out.
Well,
Einhorn is
and
Finkel,
they
Finkel
also
is
kind of
Einhorn.
match. So if you think about the color coding of the tokens, right, you can see the Frailty has a green tint. The Blood Rod obviously has the blood, so it's the red tint, and the Inertia feels kind of chilly and cold on that artwork. So the laces kind of match the overall color tint of the tokens.
Please tell me you got that Ace Ventura reference.
I did. I'm just pressing on.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
No, you
is
got
that,
it.
Is that okay with you for me to continue covering the game?
I just wish I was casting with Dan Marino. That's all.
Alrighty then. Let's talk about this 5 damage that is being sent back at Brodie. Again, red in the ledger there on the board, just as a reminder, this is the only action Ethan can take.
Basically, I don't care how big your brain is, you're throwing one thing at me, and it's coming from the arsenal, so it's getting a 1-point haircut, too, which is not all that impressive. But Brodie, again, the human calculator is going to try to figure this out. He doesn't want to leave anything up to chance. If he wants to make sure that every card that he plays is to its max and full potential, and if that means throwing it in front of this to save some life, he's going to do it.
A card not named Carrion Husk is contributing to Blood Debt for the first time in this game after that banish.
Carrion Husk is there. It's like, hey, welcome aboard. Thank you, finally. I mean, Brodie's got to love to see that, too. I mean, you want to have that there.
Yeah, you want that. I just was thinking to myself, I can't remember the last time I saw a Levia game where Carrion Husk was the first Blood Debt card to enter the banish zone.
That's a very good point. I mean, unless it's a blitz game and you're playing chain where you just immediately block with it at first time.
Right.
Yeah, okay, yep, it's yours.
But in a classic constructed Levia game, that is wild. But again, it just speaks to Ethan knows how to navigate these matchups, was very conservative, was still generating pressure. I also like that even though there was a Frailty token, he still sent this from the arsenal, saying the lesser value is fine because it opens up his ability to potentially put a Blood Rush into the arsenal and then free up his hand for the future.
I think that's a good point because if you have the Blood Rush in the arsenal, if he let's say Brodie follows up with another red in the ledger and you want to block it out fully, it's not dominated. You don't want to give up Bloodrush Bellow to block that. So having it safe in the arsenal is a good feeling, but watch out because something like Seek and Destroy can mess you up potentially. There's a whole lot of other options
Seek and Destroy,
here.
or even just more inertia effects, right, with the Lace from Inertia. It's not a foolproof plan, but it is also, I think, potentially the right call. Also, we see a drawing of an Art of War here.
Cold foil Art of War. Oh, wait. Well, I don't know, because this is the non-blinged out version of the deck.
Yeah, and I know that we've got some artist signatures here, but you are correct. Non-blinged out, and also because of the competitive level, we can see no altars on the board as well.
See, in quarterfinals, his deck was completely juiced, like absolutely blinged out. All right, well, we've got a Lace with Frailty opening things up over here. Loading the bow. Death Dealer going to load up
a Sleep Dart.
We found one.
We found one, but I was going to say, I wonder if this is still just going to be an Azalea activation, but no, we are going to send a Frailty-laced Sleep Dart for 8.
This isn't bad. I mean, 8 damage is a 3-card block. And one of those cards in hand is an Art of War.
Yeah. It's
so
not capable of blocking. This could be very relevant.
This might turn what could have been a massive turn for Ethan into just a pitch Art of War swing claws.
Yeah, and that would just feel so bad if you're Ethan because you've arsenaled that Blood Rush. You have the Art of War. You've got all the things that you need, and you're saying, okay, I just need one window. And then out of nowhere comes this laced Sleep Dart.
You got to think, in the grand scheme of things, Levi Rauch is arguably, if not the best and most devoted Azalea player out there. Brodie Spurlock has to be a 1B to Levi's 1A. The work he's put into this hero and the performances that he's put on, just these near flawless games on Azalea are incredible how he just manages to pilot this. And here we see against the sheer aggression, tall and wide, of Levia, and he's been able to just keep her at bay by constantly threatening on hits, by keeping the deck in check. And in this case, this Sleep Dart for 8 is not dominated, but it might as well be.
You mentioned Levi Rauch. Earlier, we were talking about the 10K event that's experiencing its conclusion today, day 2. Michael Fang was part of the top 8. So was Levi Rauch. So again, as you said, even if they are not playing in this event, great players all weekend long have been performing incredibly well here at the Realm Invitational weekend.
Yeah, 137 players, I believe, were at the in the 10K Open that began yesterday, and it was immensely stacked. So many great players showed up to compete there, and yeah, the sure thing, Michael Fang versus Levi Rauch was that is the final. I'm not sure how that concluded. We'll let you know once that information is available to us, but still, great players just keep bubbling up to the top.
That's been my favorite part about this meta. You know, we mentioned it a bit on the broadcast already, which is Icelander is gone, Lexi is gone, but there's not been a lot of time to test things between that time and Worlds. So a lot of these players just decided to either go to heroes that have been pet projects for a while or heroes that are their comfort picks, things that they are saying, you know what, I just know how to pilot this. And what I love about Flesh and Blood is that best players in the game always rise to the top, but also specialists get rewarded. So if you know a hero, you know the matchups, it doesn't matter if your hero is necessarily not as powerful as others. You can still perform well, top 8 these events, get big prizes. It's why I love this game. It rewards the players that put in the time with consistent output. And a Rain Razor is over the top as well here.
Yeah, from the top rope. Talking about the cream rising to the top. This is a Macho Man Randy Savage top rope elbow drop to just confirm that you're taking damage here, Ethan. Love it or hate it, you're going to take some damage here. So the Sleep Dart is in effect, as well as the Frailty. This means that Levia's game text is essentially null and void. She is going to take Blood Debt at the end of this turn, but it's Bloodrush Bellow's turn.
Yeah, we're going to pitch the Art of War to turn this on, but we're going to Bloodrush. And I think that this is a good move by Ethan because you've already fallen to 14. If you kind of take an off turn again, you have to assume Brodie is going to continue to pile it on. He got to arsenal a card there. I think your window is now. And also because, again, Bloodrush coming from the arsenal, that Frailty not going to be as impactful, but we know following a Bloodrush, the Frailty will impact the weapons. So normally these are claws for 5. Instead, they're going to be claws for 4.
Still good. I mean, still breakpoints, still respectable. I mean, the Bloodrush turns that open up with the claws, this kind of gives Brodie a little pause. You don't know what's coming around the bed, so sometimes you could just sneak in this damage because if the receiving player is thinking that there's something bigger, nastier with an on-hit that's coming around, you might hold those cards to block the bigger thing. So the claws might get a free pass here. Otherwise, this is kind of like just feeling it out, saying, how are you going to approach this attack? How good is your hand? If you're going to throw cards in front of this, you might be taking a turn off, so that might change how Ethan approaches this. But opening with the claw is a safe bet here. 4 with the go again, and 2 resources floating, 2 cards in hand here. Ethan's in a good spot to sort of equalize this game.
Yeah, and you need to equalize it because when you're looking at what else is going to happen at the conclusion of this turn, you're going to have that 2 damage from the Blood Debt. Again, Levia's text turned off. But also, the thing I can't help but notice is all of the armor that was available to Ethan has finally been used up. We have 2 counters on the scab skins. Carrion Husk was used. The helm was used. Gambler's gloves, of course. No armor. So any of those additional tools you would rely on to keep you afloat are no longer there. And this is the point in the game where Azalea's Dominate arrows are that much more impactful.
I believe this is a Hungering Laughter Beast. Just 1 S away from being Slaughter.
Well, you know, you can't spell slaughter without laughter.
That's right. That's why in like the golden age of wrestling, Sergeant Slaughter was 1 letter away from being a really awesome wrestler. He could have just been Sergeant Laughter, and that would have been so much less imposing.
I wish that there was a storyline where he joined Doink the Clown
Yes.
and became Sergeant Laughter, but somehow I feel like he wouldn't agree
They stole
to that.
the S, and he just becomes Sergeant Laughter. Yeah. Well, this is a big attack over here. 4 into 4 into 9. So we've got a 17-point attack pattern here, which is pretty hefty here as Brodie was just taking it off the chin. Claw after claw, no problem. Now it's the Hungering Slaughter Beast that comes in for 9 to bookend a very strong Bloodrush Bellow's turn for Ethan Man Sant.
Interesting bit here, though, right? Again, you know that the Blood Debt is going to go off. So you are going to put Ethan at 12 with no card in Arsenal. If you've got in your hand, because we have the Arsenal on the side of Brodie and he still has the full grip of cards, if you've got the ability to send a massive dominated arrow, and since there are no on hits here, it's just damage, you might consider going all the way to 3 if that's your hand. And we've seen some of those hands from Brodie where it's been like 3 non-attacks and then just a massive arrow. We also still have a Skull Bone that we can activate. We've got the Bullseye Bracers that we can activate. Tunic's not live, but a lot of tools available. It's going to depend on the quality of Brodie's hand. But the fact that there's no on hits, it's just damage, means that you could still go down to 3 if you feel confident in the offensive power of your own hand.
Like, think about it this way. He's going to take 2 Blood Debt, go down to 12, right? If you can cobble together a 16 Dominate, a Sleep Dart, let's say, it's essentially a 18 Dominate Sleep Dart.
Yeah.
And that puts you past the post, right? So, Brodie,
and we've seen 16-point arrows. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
Not at all. You're right. 14, 16. It's most certainly a possibility, as Brodie has been able to cobble together those kinds of stories, no problem. So I think Brodie's just going to kind of evaluate here. What is the possibility? What are the guarantees? He wants to calculate his outs, and I think that he has it in him to go ahead and just cobble together, like we said, one of those sky-high arrows that can potentially turn this off. If he's got something like a knock the death whistle, he might be just contemplating. He's thinking, I got the knock, I got the pieces. He's letting this go, Charmer.
Yeah. I was very confident that that might be the case. Now, what is happening, in case you're wondering, the way this resolves, the Blood Debt triggers, but then Ethan is activating the Demi Hero. So instead of being at 12, going to be at 13. And the Blood Debt parts are, I believe, going away now, as well as the resolution of that.
All right, so we're going to see what prompted our good friend Brodie Spurlock to just take the entire Bloodrush Bellow's turn onto the chin. The entire package.
Thing. Said 17, no problem. Now we've flipped here with this Skullbone a Bolton Shot, which, as we know, is a very powerful tool. But again, if you're trying to dominate something, that's also a possibility. Yeah, we are also, I think, checking the banish pile here. I wonder what we're looking for Brodie. Perhaps defense reactions. Again, you have no arsenal there, but block 4 is still relevant if you're trying to calculate dominate damage.
If he's running any reckless swings, there's 1 reckless swing.
There is 1, but you're at 3, so that part should still keep you safe.
3 Sink Belows in Ethan's list, as well as a 2-pack of Sigils of Solace, which is a fascinating 3 Fate for scene. So they do exist. They are there, and I think we've seen him play them. So they're in the list. They're floating around. So Ethan is, Brodie might be calculating how many has he found in the graveyard. What are the odds that Ethan's holding on to one in his back pocket right now? Like, what's the story here?
I mean, if there's one thing we know about Brodie, he's going to do the math, especially in these untimed rounds. So we're going to start with, that is a laced inertia, or laced with inertia on the Bolton Shot. So this will have go again. Not dominating this one quite yet.
So he's lacing this one up with inertia. 7 go again, Bolton Shot on hit, reload. Ethan's going to have to evaluate what is worth blocking. He's going to present the 3 block here. I believe he might have a D-react. Question is, does Brodie have another Rain Razors?
Yeah, that's a possibility. Also, worth noting, Death Dealer has not yet been activated, so even if this is blocked out fully and you're denied the reload, you can still load an arrow and fire. Tunic not live, so you would have to use your other card for the pitch, but the point here is Ethan knows more damage is coming his way one way or the other.
So we're not at a resolution step yet. So the Hungering Slaughter Beast is going to look at this Bolton Shot laced with inertia.
And even if Brodie doesn't have enough to fully threaten lethal here, if you can peel enough cards from Ethan, then you can potentially survive on your own turn, live to fight another day. But 4 does leak through, and so that means the inertia token is also granted. It also means the reload is available should Brodie want it.
And this could be a dangerous approach here, because if there's a situation here where you take too much damage here and Brodie has the pieces here to go really tall and dominate it, you might just have said, okay, well, these are cards I could have used to block out the previous attack. But the reload effect, I think, is going to be foregone unless...
Yes, I was just about to say, I think we're still going to forego that because they've also already scooped him up. That tells me he's breaking the chain. A non-attack action is likely coming again. Or it could be an activation of the Death Dealer as well, but something that is not an attack is clearly coming here.
The Cult of Azalea loving to see their favorite hero succeed in various different capacities against various different heroes. Oh my god.
Yes. So it's going to be a Seek and Destroy, a Lace with Bloodrot into a Codex. So you're going to peel another card out of the hand of Ethan here for potential blocks. And then you're going to go...
But he's got he needs an arrow that costs nothing, right?
Well, he at least has Bolton Shot. Drill Shot's also an option, but we know Bolton Shot is also there because we just had it played. We get the Ponder as well. Frailty token donated.
My god. He's going to give him, he's just basically going to say, everybody gets a little bit of everything. Have a Frailty, Inertia, Blood Rot, and a Merry Christmas, Ethan Man Sant, because a Drill Shot is going to be coming at you with a +6 chaser, 10 damage on this Drill Shot. The on-hit effect of the Drill Shot itself is pretty much irrelevant. It's not really going to do anything. It's more so the fact that it's coming with it a whole lot of extra sprinkles with it.
The question here, though, is the Drill Shot going to be fired, or do you blind fire your Azalea ability to try to dominate this?
You most definitely do not blind fire this, I think. I mean, I give my regards to your balls, man. But
listen,
thanks.
I don't think it's the right call, but as I'm looking at this, right, even if you send this, it's not threatening lethal. Ethan could theoretically block this with one card and still send offense back at you, and you're already at 3. So then your future turns are always powered down for the rest of the game, or you could roll the dice.
No.
You've got the bullseye brace.
You psychopaths. I mean, so first of all, like if you're putting Ethan, here's the deal, right? You're putting Ethan, you're firing 10, okay? If you're putting Ethan on 3 blocks, you're hitting. And if you're hitting, that means that the inertia token, the blood rod token is going to connect. You're doing some damage. You're feeling good. Plus, you get another kick at the can with a full grip on the other turn. If you blind fire and whiff, okay, then you look like a grade A high chief doofus.
Well, but that's assuming that he full blocks out. What I was considering is he might, just throw a 3 block in front of this.
Well, you could throw right.
Take the 6, and then even if he's not paying for the blood rat, that still only puts him down to 1. But then he's allowed to fire back at Brodie and put Brodie on his back foot, right?
Right, but sure.
Listen, I don't think that it's correct to use Azalea. Okay?
I get it.
I just want to be excited.
I
for a
appreciate
moment.
you.
We know what's going to happen, but I can ask what if.
No, you're absolutely right. I appreciate your Doctor Strange approach of examining 6 million different realities, but we're going to exist on
Brodie
Earth.
Is going to spin the hat and realize, like Doctor Strange, he's like, there's only one outcome, we win, boys.
Yeah. Well, that outcome is if he spins the oh god, let's find out here. Well, he's going to put an arrow in. No, Brodie. What are you doing? Oh, this is the...
Yes!
You found an arrow too, Brodie. You are a legend.
Yes! This is coming for 10. Dominated with the on-hits, the Seek and Destroy, the Blood Rot Pox.
Look, he literally just gave him...
Thank you. I appreciate you, Brodie. You made me look like a genius.
All right, let's recount... Let's recount what he just gave. Ethan Man Sant. He gave Ethan Man Sant an inertia token, a frailty token, a seek and destroy, a blood rot pox. He gave him all-wheel drive, Bluetooth capability, and an aneurysm. That's everything that he gave him right now with that one arrow. And he spun the spinner, and he came up big. That was enormous.
Yeah, he gave him everything, including the kitchen sink here, but there is still theoretically a window of opportunity. Ethan is not dead yet. He does, I think, resolve some things here. So
man.
He pitches to the blood rot to stay alive.
Okay, I just want to mention, when Doctor Strange looked into 6 million different realities and found one where they win, it was a long shot, and that's what happened.
Hey, if there's anybody who's good at long shots, it's Rangers.
I got to give you that one's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
take it there.
So we are now back to a Brodie turn because, again, Ethan pitched to the Blood Rat. It was the only way to stay alive and then has drawn back up. And now we are starting with a Skull Bone revealing a Knock the Death Whistle. We still, again, have that Bullseye Bracers as well. Now we get the information from the top.
Brodie, you are just
So
ruthless.
Ravenous Rabble coming for 4. And then again, is that another sleep dart? Is that just showing up everywhere in this game? Is that a sleep dart on top?
But it doesn't matter in this junction.
I mean, it doesn't matter except for the fact that it's an arrow. So if he has more non-attacks and then he just wants to Azalea here.
Yeah.
Now, he also could just play the knock if he wants to put something else on top. But the point is he knows it's an arrow. It's not a blind rip like before.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead, make it happen, and it's all
with the
she
sync,
wrote.
but that is it. So Brodie coming out on top in a very, very close game. I want to congratulate Brodie for moving on to the finals. I think that there's no better way to commemorate the realm than him winning the first event and then ending up in the finals of the final event of the year that the realm has put on the same hero, Azalea. However, I have to give flowers where they're due. Ethan navigated that incredibly well, was patient, kept blood that low, didn't give up the husk till it was absolutely necessary, still kept things very, very close. I think the Bloodrush turn was pivotal for giving him a shot to win. I think that if I'm Ethan, I should feel really good about the way I played that game. There's nothing you can do about your opponent just going, all right, I'm going to play them all, and we're going to activate Azalea.
Oh, gosh. Again, Brodie played to win and instead of playing to not lose. And that is, there's a significant difference to that. You could take the safe play and extend the life of the game and maybe find an opportunity. But he said, I've got an opportunity to do something big and actually close the game out, and he took it. And that is impressive. That takes guts, especially when you're not necessarily 100% sure what the hell is going to come off the top. Now, obviously, we have seen some big plays on both sides. Brodie Spurlock is a very, very adept card player, but he has seemed to find his bread and butter with Azalea. After a lot of his favorite heroes have kind of gone out.
His bread and ham with Azalea.
Yes, you're right. His Wonder Bread and Ham with Azalea. So that is the first semifinal. So we got our first finalist. It is going to be Brodie Spurlock going to be in the final. Who is he going to meet in the finals? But before that, we promised you a giveaway, and we're done. We're done messing about, friends. So how about we let you know who the giveaway, or what the giveaway is, and how to win it. So once again, it is a heartened cross strap that we are giving away to you. Cold foil heartened cross strap, because we don't mess about.
Courtesy
we want to make sure.
Green Tree Sports Cards.
Correct, courtesy of Green Tree Sports Cards. So thank you, Green Tree Sports Cards. I've got the chat open. Let's make this very simple, very, very clean. You have to tell us, get ready, with perfect spelling, to win this heartened cross-strap cold foil courtesy of Green Tree Sports Cards. Who is the artist that did heartened cross-strap? Put it in the chat. First person to get it spot on with the correct spelling of their name. We're watching, baby. You let us know. That's what happens. Who is the artist that drew heartened cross-strap?
Oh, wow.
Hold on a second. Was that right away?
Yeah, that might have been very, very fast.
Is that? That is correct. Hey, it's right out of the box. Firing away. Ryan Greggett. Now, congratulations to Ryan Greggett. That was real fast on the draw. It might have been possibly because Sam did this contest earlier with other cards with the Guess the Artist.
Oh, well.
So maybe some people got a little tipped off. But hey, you know what? That's just rewarding.
That's rewarding them for paying attention all day.
Damn right.
Absolutely.
So Ryan Greggett, thank you for participating. Thank you to everybody for participating. Everybody had it, dude. Everybody had it. Ryan, this is what you're going to do, my friend. You're going to contact orders.therealm@gmail.com. Said, I'm Ryan. How are you? How's your day? What's good? What's new? Hope you're doing well. I won the cold foil heart and cross strap. Here's my coordinates. Thank you so much to Green Tree Sports Cards for providing it. Simple?
Simple. Sounds easy enough.
Simple. Anyways, Yeah, that's where yeah, exactly. So people are like, it's usually when we need to talk to Sam. I am merely following directions of what the contest was. So again, I am only doing what I'm told. But you know what? How about we do another quick giveaway, because that's what we're doing. You want to give away some of these?
No, I don't.
Too bad.
I am a Grinch.
Yeah,
Just
you are.
kidding. It is the holiday season. Why not?
All right,
Let's
so
throw some presents
here's
out.
what we're gonna do. We're gonna do another game of Guess the Foil Majestic. We're gonna open this.
First
pack.
of all, we don't
What?
know that it'll be a foil majestic.
Oh, sorry. Guess the foil. Last time it was a Majestic. So
Right.
we're gonna open this pack,
Dude,
and
if
then
you called shot this.
I did call shot it last time. So we're gonna open this pack, and then whoever guesses the foil. Color doesn't matter. Doesn't worry about it. We'll get the opened pack plus a sealed pack. That's what we're doing. Open the pack.
All right.
So guess the foil.
Drum roll,
Because we want to give
please.
away another one. That's what we want to do. That's what we do. Typed giveaways are Garbo. Hey, no problem. We can give nothing away. If that's better for you, no problem. That's definitely an option as well. How are you opening that?
With my hands, the way our Lord and Savior Azalea intended.
All right, let's keep it
I'm just trying to build
going.
the suspense. I was told that I need to work on that.
All right.
Are we ready?
Yep.
The foil
I
is...
see it, and now I'm going to look for it. I'm looking for it. We are looking for it. What is it again? Yeah, I keep forgetting. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. The last one, I think, was Annihilator Engine. That's
That
what we
was
had.
the last one, yes,
Yeah.
but...
Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find it. Nobody found it yet.
There's
Nobody
an
found
awful
it.
lot of people guessing Codex of Frailty, which is not in bright lights, mind
Shh.
you.
Let them guess that. Let them guess that. Somebody said Banksy. I don't think that's even an option. Multiple soup-ups is not correct. Recharge ain't right. Multiple Codex of Frailties, so I can see that the
Is that...
the
Is that
troop of
Brian
bozos are out
Gottlieb
there.
guessing in chat because he hasn't read Codex of Frailty and
That's
thus doesn't
possible.
know?
He might just think that that's what it is.
Just kidding. I love you, Brian.
Still looking. The circus of bozos grows with multiple people saying Codex of Frailty, multiple people saying warmongers. So the outreach, the multiple branches of the bozo conglomerate continues to grow. Nobody's found it yet.
Saw some guesses for dumpster dive, which is not correct, but it does correctly describe my career.
Nobody's found it yet. Let's see.
We are going methodically through.
Multiple bozos. The circus is definitely in town. Leave it to Twitch chat or YouTube chat.
Hey!
There it is. Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly was
Congratulations.
the first to say ratchet up. That was the foil, so congratulations.
Did you look at the rest of the pack?
I did, but I don't want to spoil it. They're
That's a
gonna
good
receive
option.
this
And
in
a
the
sealed
mail
pack.
along with the sealed pack.
Brian Kelly, please go ahead and message orders. Order at the realm. Orders.therealm@gmail.com. Very
There we
simple.
go.
Awesome.
Order.therealm@gmail.com.
Wonderful. The percentage of the clowns just continues to go sky high.
There's always at least two.
Well, they're multiplying. All right, friends. Thank you so much for that, for participating. We're going to be back in short order with the second semifinal match. Who will be facing off against Brodie Spurlock in the final?
I bet it's a Dash player.
Oh, it's a Dash Mirror. That's right. It might be Matthew W. It might be our good friend Raj. So we'll find out. Raj Parikh versus Matthew W. Dash Mirror is going to decide the second finalist right after this at the Realm Rumble live in Columbus.